As the Denver area gets ready for its first snowstorm of the season, the flakes are already flying in the mountains. This is a look from Copper Mountain's camera.
There's dozens of them.
There's flakes.
Dozens of snowflakes tonight. Here's a look from Boulder. It's pretty, right? It's pretty with the lights. Still waiting on the snow, but up and down the Front Range, it could be a messy morning commute. Thanks for being here tonight. I'm Kyle Clark.
And I'm Kim Christensen. There could be inches on the ground, more than a flake or two by this time when we wake up tomorrow morning.
Yes.
9 News Chief Meteorologist Kathy Saban is here with much more. Kathy.
Hi, guys. We're waiting on the cold front that will create the wind shift and provide that east to northeast upslope flow. We have mostly cloudy skies. It's cold but still dry in downtown Denver. But we've issued a weather impact alert because it's all about the timing with this storm. The cold, the snow, the accumulation settles in during the morning rush. So the timing's going to be a little precarious. And we're already seeing snow in the mountains. Winter driving conditions are expected by morning up that way. And as we look live around the city, we do expect to see some snow showers here at any time. We're seeing a little bit of snow on the I-70 corridor. Radar is certainly picking up some echoes with rain and snow, and we're awaiting that band to come into Denver probably close to midnight. So it's definitely out there. It looks as though we'll be in that 3 to 6 inch range for Denver, 4 to 8 for the foothills, 1 to 4 for the northeastern plains. We're under winter weather and travel advisories in the mountains. We'll go under a winter weather advisory in Denver starting at midnight. Coming up, we'll have much more on the timing of this system and the morning drive.
After a slow start to the season, ski resorts around the state are finally starting to see what they need. Some decent powder.
Right at Copper, they are super stoked about those several dozen snowflakes that they have seen tonight. News reporter Shalima Maharaj joins us now from Idaho Springs after talking with folks at some various ski areas. Hi, Shalima.
I'm not going to lie, it does look like Hallmark movie flakes of snow right about now, but we're told that it's supposed to get a lot more intense than this, what's falling around us. One of those ski resorts that we are talking about, of course, is Loveland Ski Area. That's about 25 miles away from where we are, and they were able to open on time on November 8th, largely because of workers working around the clock to make snow and to maintain those trails.
You know, we're all very excited to see the snow.
Last week, Loveland Ski Area picked up almost a foot of fresh powder.
So we opened on November 8th, and it was for us really intentional about choosing our opening date because we didn't want to rush the process.
Lauren Roberson says before they chose a date, they wanted to make sure they'd be able to stay open for the remainder of the season.
There was some challenges in the beginning with some warmer temps, but they came through. Our team was working really hard to make it happen.
More than 240 acres of their terrain can be covered by snow they make themselves.
For the local businesses and the economy, we are dependent on this snow and these conditions to deliver.
Beaver Creek is officially open for the season. A stretch of unseasonably mild weather last month forced a short delay. The lifts are moving again.
And our lower elevations kind of plagued us a little bit with the issue of not being able to make snow overnight even.
They welcomed their first wave of skiers and snowboarders on Sunday. Last week's streak of bitter cold gave snowmaking crews what they needed to build out the slopes.
Just last year we had 18 inches the night before opening day. So yeah, it can vary year to year.
Both resorts were able to make the most of Thanksgiving weekend, and now their sights are set on the next big leg of the holiday season.
Now that things are changing for the Front Range and people aren't thinking about biking and golfing anymore, people are shifting their mindset to come out and ski.
Now, Beaver Creek tells me that anyone who was purchasing any sort of tickets or passes for their original start date, they were actually able to be shuttle bused over to Vail Mountain, so a short drive away in that case. Live in Idaho Springs, Shalima Maharaj, 9 News.
Stick with 9 News for the latest on Denver's first real snow of the season. We'll have coverage all day long tomorrow on 9 News starting at 4:30 in the morning, and you can take us wherever you go by downloading the 9 News app for free in the Google and Apple Play stores.
A home in Weld County is destroyed after a reported explosion today. Mountain View Fire says neighbors called it in just before 3 this afternoon in Tacona. No one was hurt. Fire officials say the people who lived there were out shopping when it happened. They say good timing and hard work all allowed the firefighters to prevent the flames from spreading.
We're really lucky that the crews were able to limit the extent of the damage to the one structure, and it didn't spread out to any of the homes next to it. And some of those homes are pretty close.
Fire officials say a gas leak was reported near the home earlier today. They can't say for sure if that's to blame. Black Hills Energy says it's cooperating with the investigation.
Denver Pavilions is a step closer to getting new ownership. This week, Denver City Council approved 2 funding agreements to buy the outdoor mall and 2 parking lots. The city's Downtown Development Authority will acquire that property on 16th Street for $45 million. Don't call it a mall. The council approved another $23 million for parking lots on either side. The authority wants to sell those lots to developers in hopes of building them up for hotels or housing. The Pavilions was headed for foreclosure. City and DDA said that they were worried about who might buy that property, what they would do with it. The city wanted more control. The city said the plan is to create a development framework for that place, then sell it to a developer.
Denver will soon be home to what city officials say will be the largest renewable natural gas facility in Colorado. The city and Waste Management are partnering to build it at the landfill just east of E470 near East Hamden. Gas currently produced at the city-owned landfill is partly captured and converted to electricity. The remainder is burned off. The new facility is expected to capture and refine nearly all of the gas, upgrading it into fuel that officials say has a smaller carbon footprint. The City Council voted this week to approve an agreement for Waste Management to finance, build, and operate that facility. In exchange, the city will receive a royalty payment on generated revenue. The facility is slated to start operations in 2027.
One of the largest rental companies in Colorado will pay $24 million over claims that they deceived renters. The Colorado Attorney General's office and the Federal Trade Commission announced that settlement with Greystar today. The AG's office claimed the landlord was charging hidden fees that were mandatory and not included in the advertised price of units. Those fees were only disclosed after prospective renters paid a non-refundable application fee. Colorado gets $1 million out of the settlement, which will go towards reimbursement and other costs. The other $23 million will go to federal regulators for relief nationwide, including some here in Colorado. As part of the settlement, Greystar agreed to disclose all fees and costs before tenants make an initial deposit or payment.
Colorado Parks and Wildlife's former director, Jeff Davis, resigned instead of being fired. That's according to a new document obtained by 9 News Investigates. The state announced last month that Davis would step down and move into a senior policy advisory role within the Department of Natural Resources. But a settlement agreement we just obtained showed Davis was allowed to step down instead of getting terminated. The document is signed by Davis and his boss, Natural Resources Director Dan Gibbs. There's no mention as to why Davis was about to be fired, but he is leaving as Colorado struggles to find a source for more wolves to release into the state this winter. Problems with the voter-approved wolf reintroduction program may have put pressure on the agency over the past couple of years.
The Trump administration is threatening to withhold funding for SNAP food benefits from Colorado and other states led by Democrats. It's because those states are refusing to provide certain information about people receiving food benefits. This fight started back in May. That's when the U.S. Department of Agriculture requested that every state hand over information including addresses, social security numbers, and the immigration status of food SNAP recipients. The Fed said this was to root out fraud. Colorado and 20 other states refused to hand over that data and sued, saying that the request was illegal. A judge prevented the feds from withholding the money. Today, Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins said that despite the court's order, Trump administration may just do it anyway within days.
We have begun and will begin to stop moving federal funds into those states until they comply and they tell us and allow us to partner with them to root out this fraud and to protect the American taxpayer.
After the secretary said that, the USDA clarified that the agency is going to withhold administrative funding, the costs of administering the program, not the actual food benefits themselves. Colorado's Democratic Attorney General Phil Weiser says the state will go to court to ensure that the funding continues.
A billionaire couple from the tech world is pledging money to help at least 25 million children in the U.S. Today, Michael and Susan Dell announced a $6 billion donation toward new investment accounts for kids proposed by the Trump administration. The Treasury Department says it will put $1,000 into each Invest America account. They will be eligible for children born between January 2025 and January 2029. The money the Dells donated will go to kids 10 years and younger, but born before 2025, living in zip codes with median incomes below $150,000. They will be eligible to receive $250 each. The Invest America accounts will launch next year. Work is moving forward to preserve the history of American Indian boarding schools where Native children were killed and abused for decades.
State legislatures actually required this process, directing the work that many hope will lead to healing. 9 News reporter Rachel Krause is along with that. Rachel, this is not going to be a fast process.
Yeah, they've been holding listening sessions with tribal members and survivors of these boarding schools, collecting oral histories of their experience and documenting what happened. The work is an important step in ensuring that this history will not be forgotten.
There's almost every Native family in the United States had somebody attend these boarding schools.
For decades, Native children here in Colorado and around the country were forcibly removed from their families and sent to boarding schools under the policy, kill the Indian, save the man.
The whole point of it was to disrupt and get rid of the culture of the Native people.
Philip Gover is the director of Tribal and Indigenous Engagement History Colorado. He says these schools ripped apart families.
Dehumanized us. I think it dehumanized us to a point where we didn't even recognize each other.
Jolene Holgate is the director at the Denver Indian Family Resource Center. Her father was sent to a school at an early age.
He's only 6 and he's taken. And so they take him to a boarding school so many miles away and didn't get a chance to see his mom until Christmas.
Some families hid children to avoid schools. Others never came home.
I have an auntie. She's been missing since she was a young girl. And from what we understand, we don't even know if she's on the records there.
Just how many children died isn't clear.
Hesperus, like I said, we knew where the cemetery is. At Grand Junction, we don't even know where the cemetery is. So to determine what a number could be or might be, I think is hard to do.
Now, Holgate and Gover are working to research the boarding schools and preserve the history of what happened so that dark chapter can't be forgotten.
I really appreciate that. The steering committee, along with History Colorado, are creating a brave space where folks can be vulnerable, and they're doing it in such a way that really encourages these really hard conversations.
Legislation passed by state lawmakers is directing research into the schools, helping confront this history.
That past acknowledgement is a part of the healing, and now we can move forward together.
If there wasn't an opportunity to help heal, then I wouldn't be sure why else we would do this. Recommendations to the state aren't enough. It has to be about our community wanting to heal itself.
The next step is getting a sense from communities of the harm done and putting together recommendations to the state and the Department of Ed on what should change and how to memorialize those who died. That's expected in May of 2027. Rachel Krause, 9 News.